6YEC sitting here, Paul.
Yep, again, I got to tune in.
Okay, I'll give you a call then. K2LMQ. You're sounding pretty good. W6YEC. Yeah, I was just sitting here. I couldn't remember if it was 7 o'clock or 7:30. I was busy and I haven't made it for a week or so. How are you doing? Got us tuned in, W6YEC?
Yeah, great, George. W6YEC, K2LMQ. Yeah, good evening, sir. Yep, all is well here. Nice day. Very cold at night here still, but beautiful during the day. It gets up in the high 50s, maybe up to 60, and but nights are cold and a little bit windy, down in the 30s still, and what have you. So what's doing in Lemon Grove? Go ahead.
And good evening from K6 Little Green Light.
Okay, there's Skip. Did you get over to you, Skip? You can put Paul down first. It's LGL. That's a false question. I'll give it to you. Yeah, it's we've had the same thing, except not as low in temperature. It's been in the 40s today. It got up into very nice 70s. I didn't look to see precisely, but it was warm. It was nice, beautiful, perfect. And then I see the weekend we're going to dip back down, and we've got an event outside on Saturday night, and it's going to be in the 50s. So anyway, it's been kind of funny how the temperature's been moving around all the way from 40s up to 70s. Okay. Well, anyway, we're here tonight. So Skip, over to you. Just Paul and I so far. K6LGL, W6YEC.
Okay, good evening to you, George, and to Paul. I heard Paul there, and you answered him, but my equipment wasn't warmed up yet. So there you are, K6 Little Green Light. Yeah, today was a beautiful day. It was 70 degrees here in Santa Monica. A little over 70, actually, so warm. The house is still warm. At least the part that's exposed to the sun, anyway. That won't last. The cold spell, and we should be getting some more rain, too. Well, you're sounding good, and hope that the lightning storms are under control there. And I haven't heard anybody else besides the two of you, so we're looking for our net control, KW6G, and possibly N9AMI, and WN6 WHK, and, whoever else will show up. Maybe Kevin. So, anybody else here for the DrakeNet, K6LGL?
Yes,
I'm not hearing anybody, so go ahead, Paul. So tell us what's been going on, and how are you doing?
Doing okay. Skip, good evening. Hello. Good to hear your voice. And I just got here myself a couple minutes ago, and looking for you guys. I haven't been on since I talked to you guys on Saturday night. I haven't done anything radio-wise at all. But that's it. Hey, George, I have a question for you, sir. I have a friend in England who wants to come over in March, and he was just about to book his ticket, and he said that there's a regulation, some kind of a regulation, that if you've been to Cuba in the past, you have to get a visa now instead of to come to the U.S. So I'm wondering if you know anything about what's going on with the Cuban visa or anything. Let's see, that's it. Everything's good here. I got plenty of projects to work with. I've just been busy with other stuff around here, and that's about it. Getting set for the game this weekend. Just the two of us here, and we're going to do a group buffet for the two of us. If you want to put it that way, all kinds of snacks and going to watch the game and what have you. W6YEC K2LMQ.
I'd rather be using a hand, Mark.
Okay, waiting to drag my feet in case somebody else might have wanted to pop in. Very good.
Yeah.
Well, interesting on that. I don't know about that. I know that there's some strict regulations. You know, if somebody had, I would have guessed maybe if they are going to Cuba and then coming into the United States, but I'm not sure about, if you've been there and then you're coming straight from England. That would be a new one to me, Paul, so I'd be curious about that. But now we don't have any problems going into Cuba or coming back as far as that part goes. And of course, you buy a visa to go into Cuba at the airport there, tourist type visa. But I don't know anything about coming on for somebody from another country coming over who has visited Cuba. I just don't know. So that's interesting. If you find out, let me know. If you find out more about it, it'd be interesting to find out. I guess, Skip, you heard the other night, maybe, Ron mentioned that Arnie passed away. I didn't know that.
Okay.
And anyway, he'll be missed, I'm sure. He was getting up there in age when I saw him, visited him there in Cuba. So, it's kind of interesting. When I was there, that would have been when did I see him? 6 years ago? 6 years ago, I forget. I was in Havana during Easter, and I went to his house and visited for a couple hours. His wife was quite a bit younger, half his age, and his daughter was 11 years old. So she's probably 17 or so right now. So that's all really interesting. Anyway, let me give it back to you, Skip, and we'll see if anybody else comes in. Listening for Charles. We have I hear some conversations in the background there on the east, but very, very light, no big deal. K6LGL, it's beautiful weather. W6YEC.
W6 Whiskey Hotel Kilo.
Well,
okay, W6.
Come aboard. And 6WHK. Anybody else in this still looking for our regular net control? KW6G, K6LGL.
KW6G is here. You copy? KF7TY. Okay, well, Charles was in there. And was that KF7TY? Was that you, Tapio? QSL.
Okay, 6WHK. You're sounding good, Phil. Very good. And this is Skip in Santa Monica, K6LGL. Good evening to all of you. The requirements from other countries will vary. Even Cubans have some problems now with the Russians. Promises made and promises not kept and all that sort of stuff. So that goes. Okay.
W60.
Well, the fact is that, the closest nation to us there in the Caribbean. And we have an awful lot of Cubans living in Miami or related area. So there's a strong interest from both sides. All right, Charles, over to you, Phil, and then you turn it back to Charles there. And 6WHK, and W6G, K6 Little Green Light.
Hey, Phil, Tapio's in there, I think. Hold on just a minute. Tapio, was that you?
KF7TY, yeah, put me at the bottom of the list.
Yeah, you're there. Phil, why don't you take it, turn it to Tapio, KF7TY, and then Tapio, give it to our fearless leader, KW6G, and then he can get things going. But since we're already at the end, Phil, take it and give it to Tapio, and then up to Charles, and we'll see who else shows up. W6YEC.
QSL there, George, will do. I'm not sure I'm exactly on frequency, even though I got the frequency counter. I tried checking in before Skip there, but I forgot I had the carrier balance turned down so I could read the frequency counter. And I forgot to turn it back up, so I couldn't, even though I was trying to check in, it wouldn't work. So it dawned on me what I'd done wrong. Anyway, good evening to everybody. I've still got a little bit of this laryngitis. Not as bad as it was. At least I can talk a little now, so I'm happy about that. So I'm going to turn it on over to Tapio, KF7TY and 6WHK.
Real fine, solid coffee, you bet. You got a great signal here in the Northwest. And, I know the net's about to start, so I heard George in there real fine and Skip. And, no, it sounds great. And I'll pass it over to KW6G, KF7TY. Take it away.
Thank you, Tapio, KF7TY, and the group KW6G. Sorry I am late this evening, guys. I have no excuses. I was up on 30 meters playing with FT8 trying to work that Bouvet Island de-expedition. Gee, what a mess on FT8. So I got carried away, lost track of time, and I'm like, no excuses. More operating practice. Anyways, I think Skip's got a list. Maybe Skip can run the list tonight for me. Anyways, everybody's 5 and 9 plus. You're a good band this evening. We're running the TR4CWRIT. The RV4C VFO, and the Shure 444 microphone, and the NFED half wave. And, like I say, we were playing around up there trying to work the Bouvet Island de-expedition, but that's like Mission Impossible unless you got all kinds of special antennas and booster amplifiers, I guess. I don't know. Anyway, they're having their challenges. And that's about it for us this week. We had over an inch of rain here last weekend, which kind of surprised me. We're only supposed to have 2 showers, but we got some pretty good rainfall. And a friend of mine has a cabin up at Donner Summit there. Well, not the summit, up at Donner Pass near Lake Tahoe, and sent back some pictures that the snow in his front yard is probably 10 feet deep. Absolutely, you can't see the house. Let's put it that way. You can see the garage because they dug a ditch through the driveway to get into the garage, but it's like impressive. Big snowpack up there. So hopefully that'll help us out this winter. Anyway, Skip, thanks for taking it for me. I owe you one. I will send it over to you. I think you're first in line there. And good evening to everybody. And K6LT on the group. KW6G, go ahead, Skip.
Can you turn the pop? Okay, well, thank you, Charles, and welcome aboard there, I guess. Also, hello to Tapio. Pretty good signal there from Ellensburg, Washington. Welcome aboard also. And I guess you're in the cooler country. Today here is over 70 degrees here by the shore, by the Santa Monica Bay, so a good hint of spring, that's for sure. As a matter of fact, it warmed up the living room nicely to a point where it's still comfortable inside now. Well, after the sunset. Okay, I won't keep it long.
Maybe when they turn my game down, then maybe...
The first one I have on the list is KPLM2. Then W6YEC, then myself, then Phil and 6WHK, then KF7TY, and of course our net control station KW6G. I'm surprised that Kevin hasn't showed up yet, but he may be just doing other things. So, how do you want to handle this? I'll kick it back to you, Charles. So that, we have some kind of order for transmissions. K6 little green light.
Yeah, K6 little green light, KW6G. You got the same order that I do, Skip. So, let's see, I think we start off with yourself and then go to George and then to Phil.
Okay.
And over to Tapio. I think that's it this evening. Did I miss anybody?
Hello?
Yeah, you should start off with Paul, K2LMQ. He was the first one here, Charles. And then me, and then Skip, and then Phil. And then Tapio. That's the way the order is as it developed here tonight. Go ahead. Okay, well, that's the order. That's the order. I'm not going to argue. I haven't heard Paul. I'm sorry, I forgot him. Okay, well, let's start out with Paul, and then go to Skip, and then to you, George, and to Phil, and then to Tapio, and then back to me.
This time I'm
and welcome, everybody. I'll give everybody a signal report next go-around when I hear you, after I've been looking at the S-meter for a little bit here. So, Paul, K2LMQ, take it away. It's KW6G.
Okay.
Thank you, Charles. All righty. KW6G and the Drake Group, K2LMQ. Okay, well, the newcomers here, welcome Phil and Tapio rolling in here, and Charles. Everything's sounding good. I'm on the tonight. I'm on the TR7.
Radio.
Hello.
All right. There's processing level on number 2, and the mic name's back where I had it. Hello, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Hello, radio. Hello, radio. I get a processor 1.
Hello.
Hello, Paul. You faded away.
Number 1.
Yeah, you faded away, Paul.
He's working on it.
Roger.
710. Try to adjust the...
Hello. There we go. Okay. Good to look at the watt meter because the switch on the microphone is a little shaky there, and apparently I wasn't... it wasn't hitting it good. KW6G in the gang. K2LMQ, Paul and Tingman. Okay, we'll start again. Good evening to the new guys, Phil and Tapio. Tapio rolling in good, and Charles. And as we discussed before, nice day here today. Gets cold and windy at night, but beautiful during the day.
You got the screws out of it?
That's it. I'm on the TR7.
I don't.
Driving the SP200. Hello. Yeah, about 500 watts peak. Here into the inverted V at 75 feet. And signals are pretty good tonight. That's nice. Nice. It's been pretty good lately. We can't complain. George, thank you for the Cuban information there, and I'll pass that along to my friend tonight on Messenger, and I'll let you know what I hear on it. But thank you very much for the information there. So I'll toss it to you, George, and then pass it down to everybody else. W6YEC, K2LMQ, and the Drake Net.
This is the hand mic, so this always...
Okay, real good, Paul. Very good. You sound excellent. Once you found your problem there, beautiful audio, very good signal as you always have. Yeah, as we go through the list one time, then that'll get everything established, I guess. And nice to hear everybody. Tapio, you're not quite as strong as usual, but good copy on you. I mean, you're hearing your Q5, 100%. And I bet it's been cold up there in the northwestern part of the country. And we hear a little activity on the East Coast. I don't think we bother them. They're not bothering us, really. If the band changes and things get louder, that's not too different. But right now, we're okay. And boy, I was here at 7 and I didn't hear much. I thought maybe I got the time wrong. I couldn't remember. Did we change it to 7 or 7:30? I think I missed a week or two, and I missed Saturday. And
Yeah.
So, well, I didn't get in the tail end, I think, on Saturday. Didn't I? Saturday, I got in there just as it was wrapping up, I believe. So we had an outreach going down at Sunset Cliff here in overlooking the ocean. Yeah, but a bunch of young people, about 120, 130 young people, somewhere in that neighborhood. Just beautiful. And we're planning a bunch of outreaches here in San Diego. It's going to climax with a big outreach, a festival at Balboa Stadium, which is now the San Diego High School Stadium, but it used to be the original Charger Stadium back in the 60s. And Charles, I think you said you were doing FT8. I was over helping Phil getting his FT8 going. He's been on it. And last night, I was doing something just for the fun of it during the AMI get-together on Wednesday. I turned on my ICOM on the computer, and I was copying FT8 on 20 meters, and with no antenna, just the coax hooked into the antenna switching, switch. So picking up probably a little signal from capacitance there in the switch, but my computer was giving me beautiful readouts on all these signals coming out of Russia and Spain and Cuba and all over the place. And so I didn't even have an antenna hooked up, per se. It was just coax to the switching network and picking up a little bit probably through capacitance coupling. Anyway, so I'm on the AMI net and listening to that, and then being able to look at my computer screen and see what's going on. After AMI, I went back over to FT8 and turned the antenna on, made a few contacts, a few DX contacts, and heard Phil on there. N6WHK, I shouldn't say I heard him. I heard the noise he made, but I saw his call letters come up. So I tried to contact him, but I don't know what happened. We weren't able to get connected. But, and since we got it working, he's been having some fun on FT8, I think. Fine on the TR7, again, that sounds great with the SB200. Everybody's doing a great job. Okay, let's give it back to Skip so we establish the order here, and then he can give it to Phil and Tapio, see if anybody else shows up. K6, LGL, W6YEC.
Okay, very good, George. W6YEC and the Drake Group, K6LGL. And you get signal there from Tapio, and of course, I'll tell you, got things going pretty good until our very good now, Paul. And so, all those things. I got a curly Q cord that's about 40 years old on my Electrowork 638 that I use with my Swan 500CX, and that becomes intermittent now and then. So, so from time to time you have to make an adjustment, and replacing that is a bit of a thing because it is convenient for storage purposes. You don't have to coil up that, so they keep that. Right on the FT8 work, it's amazing how well, 20 dB or under the noise. You can hear many, many things. The only thing that I'm not too clear, especially contacts are made on 10 meters and above. I think the league has got to give a special category. Say somebody makes work on 6 meters or 20 or that. They do it in FT8. It's not the same as working them on CW or AM or sideband. And they're fighting the various noises and interference. Should be a category for, digital sub-band, sub-noise. And that's the one thing I still don't see a good clarification.
Well, I got another friend of mine over here that's working on his radio. Get Mark to call. Let me ready to call you. Jim, my friend,
it's a different category. So I wonder what you guys think. All right. Over next to you there, Phil. And I wonder how you feel about that. Then 6WHK and the Drake Group. K6 Little Green Light.
K6 Little Green Light, November 6th, Whiskey Hotel Kilo. That's funny. My Swan readout came up and started working again. It says I'm right on frequency. Along with the frequency of thanks, Lamont. Of course, it's everything the same as the other readout I got from George, which I got coupled into it. I don't know, Skip. I don't think it's the same as working on sideband or CW, but it's fun. It's enjoyable. I spent most of the day trying to work on the island. I kept seeing them pop up, but I never could get through. And I'll be glad when they get their stations all set up and I can work a little sideband or a little CW. That would be a fine thing. But it's something to do. And since I've had laryngitis for a week or two, I can do FT8 a lot easier than I can talk. So then it come in handy. So it's a purpose and a reason for it. I don't know exactly what, but it's something to do. So with that over to Tapio, KF6TY, KF7TY, and 6WHK.
JKN's on frequency.
Yeah, real fine there, JKN. I'll pass it on to you. And, no, real fine there, Phil, you bet. And you sound great. Even with laryngitis there, you sound fantastic. And nice to hear, George. Yeah, FT8. You're doing real well with that. That sounds very interesting, and no antenna there. So, no, good band tonight. I'm hearing everybody pretty well. I'm on the Swan 350 and the Shure microphone this evening, couple 100 watts out. So I just wanted to check in. I think I might try to hook up an amplifier to this transceiver for next week and get a little bit more boost. But anyway, yeah, it's been another work week, and we've been down in the freezing at morning, but starting to warm up. We've been in the 40s and 50s during the day. Okay, with that, I'm going to send it over to Kevin. WA6JKN, KF7TY.
Go ahead, Kevin, and get back to me.
Happy good to see you there, Kevin. And then over to Charles, if you would.
Hello, Kevin.
Yo, double.
WA6JKN, KW6G is going.
Jimbo, N4CO.
Well, I'll send it back to you, Charles, and then you can take the lead there. KW6G, KF7TY.
Yeah, very good, Tapio. 5 and 8. Good signal down here this evening. KF7TY and the group KW6G. We'll give it to Kevin. When I get done, maybe he got a phone call or something. Who knows? Anyways, yeah, real fine on the FT8 discussion. I know just enough about FT8 to be dangerous. Let's put it that way. Receiving is no problem. You can receive without an antenna and all that kind of stuff. But when you go to the transmit mode, you got to have all your sound cards lined up right and everything else if it doesn't work right. And then you get into the adventure called Fox and Hound, which I was trying to do tonight. And I pretty much got that nailed down because I worked Macquarie Island on 40-meter FT8, which was the only mode the guy was working from that island. So I got that one on like the XCC thing earlier this year. Well, I guess late last year in the fall. But anyway, I used a program called JTDX by UA3DJY and others. It's a freebie. You can get it on the internet. It's sort of an upgraded version of WSJTX, and it works. I think a lot more user-friendly. The menus are a little bit better, that's all. It's not
too much difference, but the operating face is a little bit different. It makes it kind of easier to fool around with, but they're both basically the same program. Anyway, it's kind of fun. It's, you know, that guy Joe Taylor at Princeton, he's a physics guy, and he wrote it to talk to Deep Space Probe and back, and he got a couple of million beta testers when he released it to the ham radio world, so it's kind of fun. It's taken this hobby by the storm, but, I mean, I don't really use it too much because I don't think it's truly... You know, it serves the purpose with de-expeditions and things like that. You can, you know, work a lot of stations in a real short period of time and give everybody, they call it atno, but it's not conversational, that's for sure. It's not like sitting here with a mic in your hand shooting the breeze with you guys, that's for sure. Anyways, like I said, there's not too much going on here. Just doing a little FT8, trying to work the Bouvet Island de-expedition, but boy, on CW it's real hard to hear them. And I'm really disappointed in the attitude of some of the operators that are on frequency. It's just not a good show, that's for sure. And hopefully things will get better, but they had a tough time getting on the island. Well, one of the operators had to swim 30 meters to get on the island, but they had one of those protective suits so he didn't get wet, but still, that's scary. Swimming 30 meters in the ocean when you're down there in a hospitable climate. They're going to have they've got a storm, I guess, going through here right now with 60-knot winds, and it's like sub-zero temperatures, and it's not no fun, but they got a camp established, and they got a couple of radios going, and they're basically working 30 meters and 17 meters, I believe, and that's about it right now. So that's where you can find them if you want to work them. Just look for the big pileup, and if you got a scope on your radio, you won't have any problem finding it, that's for sure. Anyways, let's get started with the second round here before we lose the band, because it could go long. Let me give some signal reports out here real quick. Skip was 5.8, George was 5.9 plus, Phil was 10 over, Tapio 5.7, Paul 10 over, and Kevin won the grand prize of 20 to 25 over DB S9. DB over S9, and I don't know what happened to him. He must have got a phone call. Anyway. Let me try. Let's see if Kevin is there before we start the second round. W86JK and KW6G, you back?
Yeah, I'm here. I had to step out, so sorry about that. Yeah, here I thought I was ready, but I wasn't. Oh, no. Anyway, you got a big signal as well, and I haven't heard everybody. The only person I heard was Paul. Briefly, and Tapio, I haven't heard anybody else, so I'll just keep it short here so we can get into the second round. But I wanted to say something about the pileup, the DX station there. I worked them on, I think, 3 different bands on sideband, and I didn't know that. I didn't even know who they were or anything. I just gave them a call, and they logged me in, but they had a website. I went to the website, and you can put in your call. You can look up their log in their log system they have, and it will come back and show you on what bands you worked them. I thought that was pretty cool. I had no idea that I worked them like 3 or 4 times on different bands, twice on one, and of course on the other ones there. And of course this was let's see, what is this? This is Thursday, so it might have been earlier this week or late last week. Somebody had mentioned it on the AMI net, and so I was kind of looking for them. And so I'm pretty sure that's the group that you were talking about, but I could be mistaken. I've been working DX all over the place, and by the way, I just got working the DX clusters on my 7610 with the waveform view, which is a software designed for ICOM radios. Waveform view is fantastic. It's got the DX clusters, and so right there on the waterfall, you can see all the call signs of all the stations that were spotted on every band, to include 6 meters. And so I've been using that to contact countries that I know I haven't worked.
and it's working out beautifully. The DX clusters and the spotting that shows up on the waveform, the waterfall, on the waterfall. So it's really cool. Then you click on the call sign that was spotted, and it tells you where they're from and the frequency and all that kind of stuff. So that's pretty cool. It's a new technology, new feature that I'm really enjoying. Well, at least this past week. That's when I got it working. All right, let's keep it moving. Back to you. If you told me who to turn to, I've since forgotten. I got to write this stuff down. WA6JKN. Back to you, Charles.
Yeah, WA6JKN, KW6G. I'm looking at the website right now. I don't see any log.
Here, and we'll have to compress
You may be confused. They've only been there, well, I think they started last Thursday. They landed, but I don't think they've been on the air. It's been on the air less than a week. I think they started Monday or Tuesday actually transmitting a signal. So
doing the best thing to do right now.
You may be mistaken. I don't see any log here. I don't think they've got a satellite. They got a satellite phone, but I don't think they have an uplink for data. I worked a similar situation when Benin in West Africa, and what was the other one? Togo, I think it was. Did that same thing that you're describing. I think it was January. Anyway, that's neat to see your call pop up on the OQRS log. In live color. That is neat. Anyways, like I said, 20 over here, Kevin. Okay, let's start with round two, and I'll give everyone the order as I think it's right. We'll start with Paul, K2LMQ, and then over to George, W6YEC, and then to Skip, G6LTL, and then to Phil, M6WHK, followed by Tapio, KS7TY, and then Kevin, WA6JKN, and then Kevin back to me.
Yeah, he's
So go ahead, Paul, take it away. K2LMQ and the group KW6G.
With kind of a wind screen inside the hand microphone.
Okay, you want me to pick it up now?
Yeah, go ahead, Paul. You start out and then give it to George, okay?
Done. Great. KW6G and the group K2LMQ. Okay. Hey, good copy all the way around. And it's very interesting to hear about how you guys are doing with the digital stuff. I kind of have shied away from it. I have no equipment to do it on. That's not a problem though, but I was hesitating about getting into something like that because I sort of enjoy the person-to-person QSOs, but you guys are making it interesting where I may have to give FT8 a try before too long anyway. So anyway, other than that, I have no comments, but I'm sure enjoying listening to you guys, and good evening, Kevin. You're booming in here as always. And everybody's good. The stuff from the East Coast is coming in, but they're pretty much down right now, so everything's okay. All right, I'm in it for one more go around too. So over to you, George, W6YEC, K2LMQ.
Did you clear out?
Yeah, okay, Paul, real good. Man, 30 over and loud. Very good.
Good night to you.
No problem hearing you, that's for sure. Okay, welcome, Kevin. Nice to hear you in there, my friend.
Sounds better a lot.
And let's see here. By the way, I didn't mention I'm on the TR4 and driving the L4 on low power. Keep the loading all the way down, keep the output of the TR4 down, and go ahead and use the L4. So, yeah, you know, we're hitting that peaking at about 750, 800 watts, and that just helps, I think, the signals and all of that, especially when you never know what the conditions are going to be like. And let's see. Okay, on the work week up there, Tapio, and 40 to 50 degrees there during the day. Well, the 40 degrees what we've been hitting at night, and we have been getting up into the 70s. Although I don't know about tomorrow, but Saturday it's going to be a little less than that. Next week I notice the temps are going to drop down to around, 60 or something like that. So, the days are getting longer though. That's kind of nice. I like that.
Let me tell you.
And let's see here. Yeah, the FT8's interesting mode. Every once in a while, it's kind of fun to sit down, call and do it. And you get a bunch of contacts, DX that you wouldn't get normally. No conversation, like you say, but you can sure fill up a logbook pretty full, so pretty quickly. But every once in a while, it's just different, kind of fun. You got an old 706. That's what Phil's using. He got his 706 out and a signaling, and got it hooked up. We're running into a problem. He couldn't transmit. And I went over there and we checked it out. And interestingly enough, what I did is I went to default, which doesn't have any radio in it, and it worked fine. And then when I went back to the everything set up and what they call it, copy, and then it wouldn't work.
Okay, well there you go.
So I removed I went to default and it didn't have any radios in it, and so it was working fine. It just doesn't tell them what radio. And then I was driving home and I got thinking about it, and I said, you know what, I bet you the manual, you got to go into the menu and turn on the CDI, do they call it, something like that, that carries the data, and I think that's the problem. Well, it wasn't working. We haven't gotten back to that yet to check it, but I'm pretty sure that was the problem. But it's once you get it set up, it's not too complicated. The thing you got to make sure they use a different audio file, a codec, and you got to make sure that you're set up in the codec files, both on the program and on your radio. Otherwise, it won't work. But once you do that, everything seems to work. I'm using a 7600, and I have to go in and get it off the microphone into the USB line. And once I do that, then everything works, and the computer automatically goes into the codec, and never have any problems with it. Once I figured it out, got the idea of how it really works. Anyway, let's see. Still got to get over to Phil's, get his antenna working, see if we can get his rotor working there on his TH6 or 7 or whatever it is, the biggie up there in the air. So I took him some rotor line, and we'll have to hook that up and hook it up to the rotor and see if that gets him going. If it doesn't, then there's going to be a lot of work. Got to pull down the antenna and change the line all the way to the top. But I'm hoping that splicing this line in that I brought him will get his rotor working for now, and then he can have a lot more fun on the higher bands. And weak signal. No problem on the listening part. You got to have things set up right, and you've got to have an antenna, obviously, for transmit. But if you just use a dipole or just some simple antenna, it would work fine. But it is kind of nice to have the beam. I always run FT8 at low power, which I think is the gentlemanly thing to do. Some guys, crank up the power, but then you take up a lot of bandwidth. I don't think that's fair, because it's weak signal stuff, and the challenge is trying to work all these stations at a lower power level. That's, I guess, you could say half the fun of it, which if you're not having any success, it might not be fun. All right. That's the FT8 stuff. I've been busy getting my taxes organized. I got a card table here in front of me, papers spread around, and so trying to get that organized. Had to have a little dental work, and had a couple caps, one on the front tooth and one right next to it. More dental work to do, but we'll be squared away, I think. But seems like I've got a good dentist. He doesn't want to lose teeth, and he doesn't like to do root canal. So anyway, we had that work finished off today. and that was nice. We've got a lot going on here. Haven't had a lot of time for ham radio. Of course, we got the 220, and we're talking to Paul and Phil and some other guys during the day, but haven't had really time to sit down and do too much 10 meters. I've worked a little bit, and when I do, it's always fun. Lots of DXing out there. All right, I've talked long enough. Let me pass it to you there, Skip, and on down the line here. Good little crew tonight. K6LGL, W6YEC.
Okay, thank you, George. W6YEC. And the DirectNet K6LGL. Very good. Well, again, I'm not so clear what the league's position when it comes to awarding, WAS or DXCC or any other. What's the differentiation between the modes, AM versus single sideband versus CW versus radio teletype versus FT8 or any other digital mode there? In my opinion, the award should specify what mode you're using. That becomes more serious because working signals below the prevailing noise level are individuals I have heard that make all state contact, say on 20 meters or on 15 and possibly now even on 10 within several weeks. Whereas you try to do that and collect the QSL cards and all that. What is the proof? See, in FT8, there's a definite recognition, but what evidence do you have to submit? Do you submit a log from both stations and so on? It's a different world. So the awards have to specify. I think that on the digital mode, it'll be a lot easier to achieve, DX Century Club and WAS and others than it is in the other modes. So that's my position. I would like to see Lee clarify that because people work very hard, especially those who work on 6 meters and above, trying to work all states and then DXCC and collect all the grid squares, to get there's an award there. And it depends how you do it. What mode? There's a world of difference between CW, AM, upper sideband, or for that matter, radio teletype, and then FT8 or equivalent. Okay, enough of that. So there you go. All righty. Interesting comments regardless. The temperature is going to vary. We enjoyed the nice weather here, and as I say, the living room is so warm from the warm-up of today's temperature. They're over 70 here in Santa Monica by the ocean. So it's not going to be the case by the weekend, as George pointed out. The temperatures are going to drop. And over there by your place, Casio, you're going to see a totally different fact. So, and then of course there's more rain. The only good thing is, from what indications are, that at least California reservoirs, especially Northern California, have acquired a considerable amount of water. So the drought is not mitigated, but it is impacted positively. And that's a good thing. All right, over to next party. I'll probably stick around for the 73 round, but it's over to you there, Phil. And sounds like you're doing better there with your local course. Take care. And good luck whatever mode you choose to use. The only thing, as they say, the league is not very clear how it's awarding these, because there's going to be an awful lot of new contacts made. And how do you verify to the point where, people work very hard and have to collect the cards versus those who have electronically logged? There's a world of difference between the two. N6WHK. And the Drake Little Green Light.
K6 Little Green Light, N6WHK. Well, I've got a DXCC on 10, 15, and 20 meters. I've got the cards to prove it. I've got the paperwork I sent into the ARRL, and the certificates, and the pens to go with it. The rest of them I've collected up at least for the XCC, but I just never submitted them. I'm not a paper chaser. I do it because I enjoy it. I enjoy making the contacts. I enjoy rag chewing more than I do the contacts. Like the FT8. Since I couldn't talk and I wanted to play radio, that was a fine way to do it. I could do that, and that saved my voice, which is still kind of raspy. I notice the difference, and you know, it's all fun and games. No matter which mode you get into or how you do it. Like I say, I've turned in cards for 3 or 4 different bands, and I really enjoyed making the contacts, where I get the paperwork or not. If I get the paperwork, fine, I'll turn it in. But I've got quite a few since then, and I got them stacked over here on the side, and I just never bothered to turn them in, because that doesn't mean anything really to me, other than the enjoyment of the conversation, of the commitment, and the getting together with somebody in Timbuktu or somewhere. That's what the fun part for me is. So it's like working with any of the bands around here, you know, like 220 or whatever. It's just the contact is more the enjoyment than paper chasing. I'm just not a paper chaser, I guess. But I do enjoy working the FT8 because, like I said, I couldn't talk. And I'm doing a lot better than I was doing. And so that was a means to an out for me to still be playing radio and enjoying what I was doing. And for that problem with getting it set up, I had the thing set up right. And this is what it didn't like it. I had the 706 Mark II-G in there in the file, which it asked for. So I did. Well, George and I, when he was over here, he reset it up and didn't use put the radio in by accident, and it worked. You put the radio in, it quit working. So we're running it without a radio put in where our radio is supposed to be put. So I don't know how it's working or why it's working, but it's working. So I'm happy with that. Anyway, when I get back to where I can feel like getting on and really doing some rag chewing and some contesting and things, I probably won't even play with the FT8 that often. But for right now, it's a means to an end. So with that, let's have the KF7, TY, and 6WHK.
And George, and Bill, and Kevin too, FT8. Something that I have not been involved with at all. I've, over the years, the last 35 years plus of ham radio, I went through, did the initial package stuff, and did that, bought the equipment, sold it. Then I went through the digital thing again and got rid of it. I might do it again, but right now I'm always on the computer at work. We got to do software on the wind turbines. You got to enter your time in on the computer. You got to look up schematics on the computer. Everything's either on an app or an iPhone or a computer. And, you know, it's kind of like the last thing I want to do is come home after work and work on the computer. Maybe once I retire in a few years, then I'll pick that back up. That might be kind of interesting. But for right now, the old straight key and microphone are doing it just fine for me. Everybody's got some great signals. And I hear a little bit of noise in the background, but everybody's got some great signals. And Kevin, you're of course, you're real strong up here. Skip, you had a fantastic signal there. A little bit in and out. George, great signals from everybody. And Charles, of course, with the Drake. So with that, I'm going to send it over to Kevin, WA6JKN KF7TY.
Okay, I had to use the RIT on you, Tapio. No problem, it all works. WA6JKN. Very good. Yeah, Phil, it is. It's a lot of fun working stations all over the world. I've been doing that here for the past, couple of months, I guess. Even operating remote, working the stations, and it's kind of nice. You know, a lot of the stations, fortunately for me, they're rag chewers. They like to talk, and I think they're just as, you know, they've missed 10 meters and 15 meters as just as much as I have, and they just don't want to swap weather reports or signal reports. They actually want to have a QSO, and that I'm finding really a lot of fun, because you get to know the person, you swap email addresses, and you start sending files back and forth, and I've done that now several times, getting to know folks, and then you run into them again, and you continue where you left off. It's a lot of fun. I don't send contacts in for certificates and stuff. It's just not my cup of tea. But I will say that I did work a station in Ukraine. Now, this was interesting because back in February, if you remember, in 2022, that the president banned all operation of amateur radio stuff, and there's been stuff on QRZ and everything else that says, you know, if you hear a station operating from Ukraine, don't call them, don't put spots on them on the DX cluster and this and the other, because it's too dangerous and lives will be at stake. Well, here was this guy in Ukraine. He'd been on there for several days on 10 meters calling CQDX. He runs a big station there, and he was at least 20 over S9, and he had a pileup that wouldn't quit. And so I jumped in there and I gave him a call, and he came back and gave me a signal report and so on and so forth. Talked to him for a little bit, didn't ask any questions, just general pleasantries and stuff like that. And so I thought that was strange, you know, because I thought they weren't supposed to operate, but I guess, you know, if someone wants to operate, they're going to turn on their rig and have at it, you know. But that's what I'm going to call we won't call that a rare DX station. What will we call that? A wartime contact? Yeah, we'll have to call that a wartime contact with a ham operator in a combat zone. Yeah, I should laugh. But anyway, I wanted to share that. All right. Well, anyway, that's it for me. I don't know if I don't know if this is a 73 round or there's one more. So I'll keep this short so we can keep it moving. I didn't write down any signal reports other than to say I'm hearing everybody. Okay. Okay, I had to write down your call, Charles, because I couldn't remember. KW60, back to you, sir. Thank you for running everything tonight, doing a fine job. WA6JKN.
Yeah, WA6JKN and the group KW60 here. We're going to have a 73 round starting right now because I think the band may go long. I'm hearing lots of East Coast guys and they're getting stronger by the minute. Just one comment to Skip. All those FT8 contacts, those digital contacts are all logged on the computer.
I think those guys uploaded them all to that logbook of the world, so that's what everybody's using now. And I recently used that to update my DXCC. I only run a mixed DXCC. I don't run a single band DXCC or single mode or any of that other stuff. I got 287 entities. It's all mixed. Sideband, CW, and a little digital. It took me 30 years of working to get it that, 40 years of working at it, I guess, since the 1970s. And most of about 30 of those years I was using nothing but a butternut vertical mounted on the ground, so it can be done. You just got to have the right conditions. Not a lot of high power either. I got an amp here, but I don't run it very often. It's only a 500 watt amp, so it's not going to make a big difference. Well, it makes a little bit of difference, you know, in marginal conditions and such, so it's worth having it, but, you know, it is what it is. It's a lot of fun chasing it. I had a half-hour QSO with 9J2BO in Africa one afternoon here about a while back. That was a kick in the pants. That guy is, he's not real rare DX, but, you know, that's Zambia in Africa. It's just north of South Africa and Zimbabwe, or Rhodesia is what they used to call it. So it's down there in the bottom end of Africa, but it was kind of fun talking to him for a while. He had a lot of very nice CW QSO for about a half hour. And then most recently I worked Charlie 91, Charlie Yankee, who is also ZS6 Charlie Yankee. He has a game farm business in South Africa and in Mozambique. And I worked him in Mozambique one morning on 40 meters long pass with sideband with 70 watts. Single sideband. He's got a 4-square antenna there with high jar verticals, but I got a QSL card from him. And a little later, about 6 months later, I was on 40 meters in the evening, and I heard him and gave him a shout from my Lake QTH up there, and I thanked him for the QSL card, and he wanted to know what I was running and how many watts I was running when I broke in and got him on the first call on the long pass in the early morning hours, and single sideband on 40 meters, which was about, I want to say, not real early morning hours, about 6 a.m. And that wasn't really early morning, but it was, it was that time of day where running long pass over the water, and it's darkness almost all the way except for here in California. So it's fun, you get the right conditions and you get the right people on. It's a lot of fun to sit down and talk to them and yak with them and share a little common conversation and pleasantries. You're absolutely right there, Kevin. So anyways, I'd like to thank everybody for stopping by this evening. I'll pass along my 73s at this time, and I will listen out to everybody and close the net at the end of this round. And hopefully everybody can still copy. There's no problem. So let's go in the same order. We'll start with Paul, then over to George, and then to Skip, and to Phil, and then to Tapio, and then to Kevin signed, but if he wants to add something, we'll keep his position open. If Kevin's already left, and I'll just pick it up and I'll close the net. Before we get going with the 73 down, though, I'll ask my customary question: is there anyone else who wants to check into the Drake West Coast net? This is KW6G. Come down, please.
Yeah, JKN's still going to be here, and I have a question for you, Charles, and that is, what was the call sign of that station you were talking about that I got mixed up? Do you have one so I can look it up and verify?
Bouvet Island is 3 Yankee 0 Juliet. The Benin, I can't remember what the Benin, I think it's TY something RU in Benin. And the other one was in Togo with 5E7 RU, I believe. Those were in early January.
The 3Y0J has only been on this week, and I looked up at the website. They do not have an online log, so you must have worked somebody else. Anyway, I'll take a look at it and give it to you at the end of the net. I'll see if I can find it in my log. I keep paper log. I don't keep a computer log, okay?
Yeah, you said 3 Yankee 0 Juliet George?
No, 3 Yankee 0 Juliet. 3 Yankee 0 Juliet on Bouvet Island.
QSL.
Okay, let's get going with the final 73 lounge. So go ahead, Paul, take it away and then give it to George. Go ahead. There's a tuner upper on frequency.
Well, the frequency is in use, but guys, I'm going to get out of here. I'm going to depart. It looks like they have somebody in there trying to tune up W6YEC. Y'all have a good evening.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, same here.
Stopping by. Go ahead,
George.
K2LMQ, KW6G. Your turn.
Yep, I'm here. This is K2LMQ, other than the idiot tuning up. Okay, it's great all the way around. I still keep a written log, handwritten with the comments and the discussion and, and the rigs that I use and what have you. So I don't, if there's a contest, I don't mind getting in and working a few stations and enjoying it, but I do not send in a log. I don't do any of that stuff. Hey, been great, guys. 73s, and we'll catch you guys, some of you guys, Saturday, and if not, next week. And if we don't see you Saturday, enjoy the game. W6YEC signed. I'm not sure who gets it after him. Let's see. I think Phil, N6WHK, K2LMQ, 73's all.
All right, goes to Skip. I'll take it for a moment. Hold on, Skip. I didn't think I'd get a chance to get in there. We had that turner upper and all that. The signals are changing a little bit. Anyway, it's been good tonight. Enjoyed it a lot. And so I'll say 73s to everybody. We'll catch you all later. And thanks, Charles, for directing traffic here this evening. Really good. So over to you, Skip. And we'll catch you guys later. Maybe catch you Saturday night. We'll see how it goes. I've got something going Saturday, and I'm not sure if I'll be back in time for the Swan Net, but if I am, we'll see you then. K6LGL, W6YEC.
Well, even if you get there a little late or that, George, we'll keep you in mind in our spirit. Okay, K6LGL, thank you. Thank you for your comments and all this sort of stuff. As I say, I would like to see the league clarify the awards based on modes, and emission types. And differentiate when it comes to that, collecting cards in the traditional way for upper sideband or CW or EM versus the new digital mode and the verification process required. There's a different level of effort. Okay, best of 73s. Catch you all on some of you there on the Collins Net and Saturday on the Swan Net. So good night to all. I think it was over to you there, possibly, Phil, if you're still there. I'm not sure. And if not, good night to all. And to Tapio and Kevin and all. K6, little green light.
Yeah, Skip, I'm still here. K6LGL, N6WHK. Well, like I said, I collected cards for everything I have. And half of them I've never turned in. I did turn in for 10 meters and a couple others, but that was it. Then I figured, what's the use in it? I know what I've done. I'm not trying to prove it to anybody else. So I would go ahead and collect the cards, but they're all in a shelf over here beside me. And of course, I've got everything on the ARRL. I've turned it in there and got that. but I'm not really trying to prove anything. So I enjoy what I do. I enjoy the radio. I enjoy talking, and I'm happy with that. So that's the way it goes. Like I say, I'm going to work on the island, Beauvais, however you pronunciate it, and I'll probably never get a card from them. I will submit it, and I worked them so it will show on their records, but that's that. With that, 7-3, gentlemen, it's been a pleasure. I'm glad this radio is locked down and it's staying where it's supposed to be, which the readout on it has gone crazy. Right now it's reading on frequency, I hope. And I've got a counter hooked up to it so I can read what it's doing. So there you go. I'm surprised it's working as well as it is. With that, over to Tapio. Been a pleasure talking with everybody. KF7TY. It's all yours, my friend. Catch you down the coax. And 6WHK listening out.
Yeah, I'm 6WHK KF7TY. Real fine, Bill. Well, your radio sounds fantastic. And, yeah, you bet. 73s to everybody. Great stories. And, yeah, good DX this week. I'm going to try to work them this weekend. 3 Yankee, 0 Juliet there. I think I have them already from a previous DXpedition, but I'm going to try to work them again. So I've been following them a little bit on the internet. But anyway, yeah, yeah, Kevin, I'm on the Swan 350 here. A little bit drifty, moving around a little bit, the VFO is. So, yeah, I didn't turn on the Drakes tonight. Had this still hooked up here and wanted to run it a little bit more. But I got a little bit of work to do on this to kind of fine-tune that VFO a little bit. But that'll come down in the next few months. Okay, thanks, Charles and Skip, Paul, George, Bill, Kevin. Thank you very much. And I'm going to pass it over to Kevin. WA6JKN. Everybody have a wonderful weekend. KF7TY.
Okay. Solid copy again. Good signals tonight. And Charles, I looked up that call, and I don't see a log there, and I'm going back through my log. Went back 2 weeks, but I only heard about it a week ago from ZTA on the AMINet. I found that entry, but I must have mixed it up with another DXpedition that's out there, because I know it was on I found it, and it was at an island off of Morocco or someplace like that. I haven't had a chance to look that one up to look at the map again. But no, it wasn't this one. You're absolutely right. Thank you for helping me figure that one out. And so with that, let's keep it moving. 73 to everybody, and Tapio, no problem on that Swan 350. It should be drifting. I mean, it drifts a little bit, but you know, there's I think it's called a 10 volt or 11 volt Zener that's in the underneath the chassis, and that's probably bad or something like that, and needs to be replaced, and that will stabilize your 5 what is it? That's the voltages for your 5 volt local oscillator, 5 meg local oscillator, if I remember correctly, 5 point something or another. Stabilize that sucker, and you won't drift very much. And that's the problem with the 350 I had, is that Zener in there was not only bad, it was open, and so that was putting something like 12 volts, 13 volts on that local oscillator, and of course it was drifting all over the place. But once you put it under load, the voltage dropped below 10, so it wasn't that far out of range, but it was not regulated. So once I replaced the Zener, everything became fairly stable. All right, enough of that. But it's still drifted. I'm just saying, check that sometime just to make sure it's still good. It's supposed to be around 10, 11 volts, something like that. But don't quote me. Check the manual. 73. Good night, everybody. Back to you, Charles. I guess this is it. This is the last transmission of the evening. KW6G. Again, thank you for running the group tonight. WA6JK and is clear.
Break, please.
Go ahead.
Yeah, this is W6PMR, Whiskey 6 Papa Mike Radio. I've been listening here in the garage for a long time, and I was just wondering what net is this? What is the purpose of the net, please?
KW6PMR, KW6G. My name is Charles, Charlie Hotel Alpha Romeo Lima Echo Sierra. I'm located in Clayton, California, about 30 miles east of San Francisco. The purpose of this net, we call it the Drake West Coast Net. We run old radios, vintage radios by the R.L. Drake Company in Miamisburg, Ohio. And we just like to talk about the older radios and run them once a week. We're here every week around 7 o'clock for about an hour. Go ahead.
Okay, thank you very much. I'm out in the garage, not on my main radio, and I was just listening as I was working on a car here. All right, thank you very much. I'm on an old TS520 Kenwood, and I've had many Drakes in the past, too. Thank you for giving me the information. W6PMR, I'm in Lincoln. We're not too far away, probably, and I'll be clear. Thank you for the break.
Yeah, W6PMR, KW6G. You're 5 and 9 plus here this evening. And you're welcome to chime in anytime you want. We're here every week. You don't have to be running Drake equipment to check into this net. Just want to join in the camaraderie. That's all we ask. There's no dues, no assessment, no real formal roll calls. But our first serve basis of a kind of a roundtable conversation. That's the kind of way we run it. Anyways, we've been here for about 7 or 8 years coming up, and a good group of guys. So you're welcome anytime. Please come back and join in the conversation. Kenwood TS520, I remember those rigs. I had a Kenwood TS820, the first rig I bought when I got out of college. Boy, I thought I had something really great. I ran that rig for 22 years. It was better than an upgraded 520. Good radio, and yours sounds really good. Nice audio. So I just thought I'd pass that along to you. 73s, my friend, thanks for breaking in, and thanks for the information. I'll close the net out this time, gentlemen. Thanks for everybody for stopping by. Thanks to Skip for taking the earlies again if I didn't say that before. And we'll see you back here next week, everybody. Take care. 73s, have a great week. Enjoy the Super Bowl. This is KW6G, returning the frequency to normal amateur use, and we're going to be QRT. Good evening, gentlemen.